Imagine a universe where life itself is just a recycled commodity. It's a dark, thrilling reality that completely pushes the boundaries of human survival. And the story begins right at the freezing, bitter end.
So, what's it actually feel like to die? Well, picture this. Falling down a massive ice crevasse on a freezing alien planet. You're just lying there, shivering in the dark, slowly turning into a literal meat popsicle. This is the incredibly grim reality for our protagonist, Mickey 17. He's stranded, and when his friend Timo finally finds him, Timo literally just leaves him there to die. Why? Because, well, Mickey is just going to get reprinted the next day anyway.
You see, Mickey has the worst dead-end job imaginable, multiplied by infinity. He is an expendable. It's exactly what it sounds like. He's an uninsurable space colonist. Whenever he dies, his memories and personality are backed up and then boom, implanted right into a newly printed body. And get this, the new body is constructed from a cycler vat of biological waste. We're talking apple peels, chicken bones, and even dead bodies. This tech is so controversial it was outright banned on Earth, meaning it's now strictly used in outer space just to do humanity's deadly, dirty work. Now, how does someone even end up as human machinery? For Mickey, it started with a really simple mistake. He trusted a bad friend, took out an enormous loan from a ruthless Earth loan shark named Darius Blank, all to open a macaron store. Yeah, a macaron store. When that completely failed, he joined an expedition to the icy planet of Niflheim just to escape his massive debt. It takes 4.5 years to get there, and during that space journey, he ends up falling in love with an elite agent named Nasha. But once they actually land on Niflheim, reality hits hard. He takes on the absolute most dangerous jobs, dying 16 agonizing times. And that brings us right to the printing of Mickey 18. Overseeing this entire grim operation is the expedition's leader, Commander Kenneth Marshall. He's a former politician who actually lost his last 2 elections back on Earth, and he harbors this extreme, fanatical vision. According to him, Earth is just beyond saving, filled with what he calls muddy people. So his ultimate goal? Establishing a kingdom beyond the stars. He wants to create a brand new world on a pure white planet, populated entirely by genetically perfect, superior people.
But here's the catch. This pure planet of Niflheim is definitely not empty. The colonists very quickly run into the native inhabitants, who they appropriately nickname creepers. And these first encounters are absolutely brutal. The native creatures are extremely lethal, highly aggressive, and they have a serious taste for human flesh. Plus, terrifyingly enough, they can literally tunnel right through solid ice and stone. It is a relentlessly hostile environment.
The entire system unravels when Mickey 17 miraculously survives that deep ice fall we talked about earlier. He wakes up to find that the creepers didn't actually eat him, they just abandoned him. So he treks all the way back to the base, exhausted, sneaks into his room, and realizes his replacement, Mickey 18, has already been printed out and is just chilling in his bed.
Now this is a massive crisis. In this universe, having 2 or more living prints of the exact same person makes you a multiple, and being a multiple is considered an absolute, illegal abomination. Under Commander Marshall's extremely strict regime, getting caught as a multiple is an automatic death sentence. We're talking total execution and the permanent deletion of both physical bodies and the mind backups. So instantly, the 2 Mickeys are forced to hide their dual existence.
It's honestly a wild dynamic. As they awkwardly try to figure out how to share a single life in hiding, some really stark psychological differences start to pop up. Mickey 17, the original, is super timid and passive. He's literally offering to have their food rations, split the workload, and he'll even take the odd-numbered deaths so 18 can take the evens. But Mickey 18? He's the complete opposite. He is aggressive, rebellious, indulges in pure uncut oxyosifol, and immediately wants to just fight back and kill anybody who wrongs them. Obviously, this fragile secret doesn't stay hidden for long. Elite Agent Nasha walks right in and catches them together. But instead of turning them in to be permanently deleted, she is absolutely thrilled. Seriously, she thinks the idea of having 2 boyfriends is incredibly exciting. She affectionately labels them Mild Mickey and Habanero Mickey and promises to feed them both, but only as long as they behave and don't fight.
Meanwhile, Commander Marshall starts showing the true depths of his horrifying cruelty. He decides to host this fancy dinner, inviting Mickey 17 as the guest of honor, but it's totally a trap. During the meal, Marshall feeds him experimental cultured meat laced with a highly dangerous growth hormone. Mickey reacts violently, breaking out in rashes and vomiting everywhere. And rather than help him, Marshall and his science team just use it as a sick opportunity to test an experimental painkiller called Perpe Joe on him, literally filming his agonizing screams for their own amusement. To them, an expendable is really just a walking meat matrix.
Right around this time, a massive external threat completely escalates the tension. Some of the human colonists actually capture a baby creeper and bring it inside the colony ship. Of course, the baby starts screaming and crying, which triggers a massive, overwhelming response from the natives. Huge swarms of creepers completely surround the human base. They circle the ship endlessly, basically threatening to tear through the solid stone and ice just to get inside. Facing this gigantic swarm, Commander Marshall decides to go all in. He initiates what he calls Operation Total Extermination. His plan is to use a highly lethal nerve gas, Arcady 3.0, to completely wipe out the native species in one glorious orchestrated strike. And why? All so his camera crew can record a historic victory video to send back to his fanatic political supporters on Earth. But right before that gas can actually be deployed, the two Mickeys are finally discovered and arrested. As their punishment, Marshall devises a deeply twisted game. He forces 17 and 18 outside into the blinding snow, but he straps them together in a shared remote-detonated bomb vest. He commands them to take primitive weapons and chop off creeper tails. Whichever Mickey brings back 100 tails first gets to survive, and the loser gets blown to pieces. Out there, in the freezing snow, the Mickeys make a choice that changes literally everything. They flat out refuse to fight each other. Instead, they use a prototype translator device that a scientist secretly slipped to them, and they manage to communicate with the massive mama creeper. This is a huge breakthrough. They uncover that this native species is highly intelligent. In fact, they realize the creepers didn't try to eat 17 earlier in the ice crevasse. They deliberately saved his life. And most importantly, the swarm isn't out there looking for war. They literally just want their baby Zoko safely returned. However, through that same translator, the mama creeper issues a genuinely terrifying ultimatum. It's called the extinction frequency. If baby Zonko isn't returned safely, the creepers are going to unleash this devastating sound frequency. It's a high-pitched roar so intense and powerful that it will make every single human eyeball and brain violently explode. A literal promise of absolute extinction for the entire human colony. As you can imagine, this immediately sparks a chaotic, three-way standoff. You've got Marshall, who is blindly pushing for total extermination using bazookas and nerve gas just to secure his pure planet. Then you have Nasha, who's desperate to stop human extinction, so she takes Marshall's wife, Yulfa, hostage to force him to return the baby. And of course, the creepers are standing right there, ready to either rescue Zoko or annihilate absolutely everyone. The resolution here is quite literally explosive. Marshall angrily orders his soldiers to fire on the creepers so he can get his grand video, but his violent hubris completely backfires. In the wild crossfire of bazookas and the Mickey's bomb vest, Marshall himself ends up blown to absolute dust. With the commander gone, Nasha swoops in, successfully secures the baby, and returns Zoko to the mama creeper, locking in a very tense but incredibly vital truce. After that, the political and personal fallout moves incredibly fast. Nasha decides to run for the colony committee and ends up winning in a total landslide. Marshall's wife, Yulfa, unfortunately goes into severe shock and is placed in the psych ward. Back on the personal front, Mickey's buddy Timo actually manages to defeat the assassin that was sent all the way into space by the Earth loan shark Darius Blank. And, maybe the most crucial point of all, Nasha passes groundbreaking legislation to permanently abolish the human printing program. This officially ushers in the end of a deeply oppressive era. The human printer, that massive machine that endlessly recycled expendables into cannon fodder, is finally burnt to ashes and completely erased from memory. It's a triumphant, highly symbolic destruction of a system that systematically devalued human life for so long. For Mickey 17, watching that printer burn means he can finally let go of his survivor's guilt. He no longer has to share his existence with a clone, and he doesn't have to watch endless versions of himself suffer and die anymore. He's able to fully embrace the terrifying yet profoundly beautiful reality of having just a single mortal life. He realizes it's finally okay for him to just be happy and grow old with Nasha.
Mickey's chaotic journey leaves us wrestling with a really provocative question. Is an endless, expendable immortality actually worth living if your existence is treated as nothing more than biological waste? Or does life only find its true meaning and its true beauty precisely because it is finite?